Osceola McCarty, the washerwoman, was born in 1908 to a single mother. "Save money, Osceola," her mother would frequently tell her as a child. These words stayed with her for the rest of her life. She would wash, dry, and iron clothes all day till 11 p.m. and would save the money in her doll buggy. Coin after coin, her savings grew. So on one fine day, Osceola walked into the First Mississippi National Bank to open a savings account in the early 1900s. It was a tiny move, but it was a step forward. She would stroll to the bank whenever she had the opportunity to deposit her funds. She also lived through World War I, the Great Depression, and continued to pile up the money to save while going through such hardship. Do you know what happened after decades? She had a stunning $280,000 in her bank account by the time she retired in 1995. For a washerwoman or even a white-collar professional, that's a significant amount to have for their retirement account. She made so much money that she kept enough for herself while donating $150,000 to Scholarship Foundation for underprivileged youngsters. Osceola McCarty learned one right thing and practiced it her entire life.
In this module, we will learn all the basics you need to know before you make your first stock market transaction, and why should you even invest in stocks in the first place. Hi, I'm Prateek Singh, the CEO and founder of Learner.com, and welcome to the Zerodha Varsity video series. So let's get started. So let's assume that you earn 50,000 rupees a month, right here, and you spend 30,000 rupees a month on various expenses. That means you're saving 20,000 rupees a month. Also, let's assume the following, that your employer gives a 10% salary hike every year. The cost of living goes up by 8% a year. You are 30 and you plan to retire by 50. It gives you about 20 more years to earn. You don't intend to work after you retire. Your expenses are fixed and don't foresee any other expenses. And the balance 20,000 rupees is hard investable cash, which is this stack right here. So this means you have 6 lakh rupees total that you're earning a year. The expense is 3.6 lakh rupees and the cash retained is 2.4 lakhs. Now, if we continue to earn and save for 20 years, you'll have 1.8 crore rupees. And you probably suppress desires like buying a car, a nice house, or a fancy vacation. And at 8% of yearly increase, you will only have 8 years of money left in the bank. I mean, what about the rest of your retirement? Could there be a way that at retirement you have a larger corpus, larger than this hopefully, so you can spend the rest of your life more comfortably? Now let's take the same example, and instead of letting that cash sit idle, let's invest it in an asset that returns 12% per annum. So I have an Excel sheet over here, and in the first example like we saw, you have a yearly income of 6 lakhs, your yearly expense is 3.6, and you're saving 2.4 lakhs. And you do this for 20 years, you'll be able to save 1.79 crores, about 1.8 crores. In the next example, what we've done is, everything is the same, except the savings are invested at 12% every single year. And this is compounded, and you can see by the 20th year, it's actually 4.27 crores. This is a staggering 2.4 times of what return you get versus just saving the money. So it's clear that investing definitely makes more sense than letting that cash sit idle. But the question is, where do you invest? What are the asset classes out there? Let's explore that. So different asset classes have different risk and return profiles, and the returns that we'll be discussing now for each asset class is from 2009 to 2021. That's about 12 years of data. I have real estate here as an asset class. There is fixed income, there is gold, and we also obviously have equity. A fixed income asset is basically an asset where you have a principal amount that you invest, and then you receive an interest on a quarterly, yearly, or a 6-monthly basis. A fixed income could be, say, a government bond or maybe even a fixed deposit where you put an amount with the bank and the bank gives you an interest rate based on how long your tenure is. So without getting into the details, roughly a fixed income asset like a 5 to 10 year government bond, which is a fixed income asset, gives about 5% returns a year. Now, just like we walk into a bank and create a fixed deposit, corporates also have fixed income instruments called bonds. Some other fixed income instruments are bonds issued by the government, bonds issued by the government-owned enterprises like ONGC, PFC, or RAC, and bonds issued by corporates. After fixed income, we have equity. There's no guarantee when you invest in the shares of a company, but you profit if the price of the shares increases over a period of time. You can buy the shares of any company listed on the exchange. We have two major exchanges in the country, National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. Nifty is a good way to find out what the returns of equity are because it's basically a weighted average of the top 50 stocks. Nifty has given roughly a 14% return in this period between 2009 and 2021. Some of India's best-run companies have returned 20% year-on-year over very long periods of time. But identifying these companies consistently for your portfolio takes skill and patience. Here are some companies. We've removed the names of the companies, obviously, so you can see the power of long-term investing in action here. The next asset class is real estate. Investing in real estate involves buying, selling of land, commercial or residential real estate. And there are two ways to earn from real estate. Either there is rental income, and the second way is capital appreciation, which is the asset itself grows. So you bought an apartment for 1 crore and then you sold it for 1.2 crores, giving you a profit. Now, since this is such a complicated transaction requiring a lot of cash upfront and every area has a different risk and return profile, we can't really give you a risk return profile of real estate itself. And then we have gold. The return for gold has been about 9% from 2009 to 2021. And the only way to buy and invest in gold is you could invest in physical gold, that is buying gold bars, or invest in ETFs or SGB bonds. So let's quickly compare the asset classes. For fixed income at a 5% return, our corpus would have grown to 2.48 crores. For equities, which is at 14%, the corpus would have grown to 5.07 crores. And gold and silver at 9% return would have given 3.3 crore rupees. So clearly, equities is the winner by far from all these asset classes. Now, since we've got straight to the point that equities generates the most returns, it makes sense for us to explore how we can invest in equities, right? But before we do that, let's understand the ecosystem where equity sits. That's what we'll do in the next video. Key takeaways from this video are: